Hello there, Baja 4ers. I know it has been a while, so I just wanted to check in. Hopefully you're getting excited, fired up. We are well within a month, within a couple weeks actually, of when most of us will be departing for the field. So I just wanted to check in. First of all, congratulations. I saw most of you got your synthesis papers in, and at this point I think you have received feedback from, I believe, Elizabeth and Judy. Some of you I know have reached out to me for some feedback as well, which you can certainly do, especially as you're making changes. If you want another pair of eyes to look at it, by all means send it along. Just make sure you shoot me an email because I might not see it on the platform. So congrats on that. You're almost done. Like I said, by far the hardest paper that I had to write for this program, that I had to write for grad school in general. It's just a little bit different than a typical scientific paper. But really take those opportunities to compare and contrast and kind of get your ideas together, get your voice within the paper. Make sure you're citing, make sure you're really doing some thorough research. All that definitely helps with your synthesis papers. So great job there. Keep it going. Definitely look at your feedback throughout the rest of the week. And I believe that your final is due on Monday, the 26th. I think that sounds correct. So make sure you get that in. Make sure you get it in on time. And good luck. All right, and the next thing coming up for your to-dos as we prepare for the fields, now you have the synthesis paper, you have a topic within a topic, so you picked a specific topic within natural history or within participatory education or field methods or community-based conservation. Okay, so now your whole group, so everyone, let's say within community-based conservation, needs to get together and you need to come up with an hour and a half-ish discussion that you're going to share with us in the field. Now, I know you're not all teachers, but as a teacher, I do kind of like to think of this as like a lesson. But when I say lesson, I do not mean lecture. We have to sit there for an hour and a half and we have to listen to you. So the more interactive you can make your group discussion, the better. A couple ways I've seen this work in the past. Typically, we do start as a whole group and the group might have like a game or a simulation or examples and non-examples or some sort of whole group activity prepared to engage and kind of get us thinking about whatever you want to talk about. Now, there are a couple resources you have for this. You have your synthesis papers. You do not have to present your synthesis paper to us. You might find that your synthesis paper topic relates to something you want to discuss, but please do not stand there and like read your paper. That's not a discussion. That's you reading your paper. You may want to think about breaking into smaller groups. So a lot of times we do sort of like this whole group activity that gets everybody thinking about what we're going to be doing. And then we break into smaller groups. So in the smaller groups, you might cover some of your synthesis topics and have a discussion. You might cover some of the readings in the course reader and have a discussion. Or you might find that your synthesis papers covered kind of different chunks of the topic. So for example, if we had two people who were looking at inquiry education in zoos and aquaria, they might take a breakout group. And then if we had two other people who were looking at inquiry education in the classroom, they might take a breakout group. And then there might be a third group for miscellaneous, or you come up with some sort of activity or something like that. It is definitely more fun when everyone is engaged, and I think it works a little bit better if you do break out into small groups. You should have some planning on this done before you leave. I definitely recommend a video phone call and somebody keeps like a Google Doc outline. What you want to have by the time you leave are just sort of this general outline. So we're going to start by doing this. These are the questions we're going to be asking. These are the things we want to get out of people. These are the materials we're going to need. The nice thing about Baja is that there are so many groups that go there. There are typically a lot of materials, but if you wanted to play like a little game or something that's going to involve a bunch of index cards or a bunch of post-it notes or a bunch of, I don't know, like a basketball or something, those are things you want to think about before you leave. We can get most things in the field. Most things or substitutes for those things are available in the field, but if there's something specific you're going to need for your group discussion, you want to make sure you've talked about it before you left, and you want to make sure you know who's bringing it. Please let me know if your group is meeting for a chat and you would like me to be present for part of it, or if you want me to look over your outline or something like that. I'm happy to do that. It is not a super formal thing, but it is something that you are graded pretty heavily on. So you do want to be prepared. You will also, especially if you're in the later groups, have some time in the field to prepare and kind of think about what we've talked about and make that part of your discussion as well. But you definitely want to come to the field with a solid outline, some questions you want to ask the group, and some objectives for what you want to get out of your discussion. So keep that in mind as you start to post and as you start to meet with your groups. Okay, those are the online things, but we're getting very close to the in-person things. I know I personally just kind of finished up my last little mini vacation before Baja, so I'm starting to go back through and check that packing list. First and foremost, let me just remind you, you are in very good hands. You will be very, very well taken care of. And no matter what you forget, you could literally forget like your whole suitcase and you'd still be fine, because we have different things on hand. We have blankets on hand. I'm sure we have some extra clothes on hand. You know, I'm not telling you to forget your suitcase. Don't forget your suitcase. But what I am telling you is you're going to be fine. We are going to very different places. I think that's the challenge in packing for Baja. But realistically, you are not going to care what you're wearing. I'm not going to care what you're wearing. And pretty much nobody else is going to care what you're wearing. So I can honestly tell you I've packed for this trip twice now. This will be my third time. I usually pack like 2 pairs of conversion pants, 2 tank top / t-shirt kind of tops. I personally like to wear the sun shirts, so like they have UPF built into them. I burn. You can tell I just went to the beach. I burned. Okay, so I'll pack kind of those, and then maybe one kind of light fleece if I get cold at night or something like that. And then your bathing suits for the field station. Pack light. You want to pack basically 1 carry-on bag, and then you want to have a backpack that you can pack daily. There will be days where we pack your backpack in the morning, we tell you what you need, and you don't get back to the rest of your stuff for the afternoon. But with that said, it does not need to be a huge backpack. I've done it with like a day pack, and I've also done it with just like cheapo, fits in your pocket and unfolds backpack. Both have been fine. You definitely want to bring your camera if you have it. I will bring a decent point and shoot camera. I will also bring an underwater camera. If you're looking for underwater cameras, this is a really cool underwater experience, one that you'll definitely want to share. GoPros are expensive. They're awesome, but they're expensive. There are a lot of really good knockoff GoPro options. Mine personally is called a Geek Pro. I know, it's awesome. It's good enough for me to share with my students, my family, and things like that. It's maybe not quite as clear as a GoPro, and it is not quite as easy to edit as the GoPro software. But other than that, I think it's great, and it's like $60 versus like $300. So just kind of think about that. And you definitely don't need one. We will all have a ton of pictures. We will all share them when we get back, and it won't be a problem. But if you're stressing out about not having an underwater camera, there are some really good options that you can get fairly cheap. As a reminder, you will need to pack for day 1 the night before. So your carry-on is going to be packed with most of your stuff in it. Your carry-on goes into the back of the van. You will not be able to get to your carry-on even when we stop at the hotel that night. So just, I will remind you of this again the night before for those of you who I'm going to see. But just remember, you're going to want to have a bag for the van pack that includes some overnight things like your toothbrush, maybe some underwear, you know, change of clothes if you really think you're going to need it, although honestly you're not going to care, and stuff like that. So just kind of keep that in mind. So that's packing. Also, we are going to Mexico. We are going to be seeing some locals who are very helpful to not only us, but the program in general. We are going to be staying with different parts of a family that have also been really helpful to the program and will be extremely helpful to us. So there is a wish list, I believe, included in your expedition planner. So if you are going to have some extra room in your carry-on size bag, plus a backpack, please take a look at the wish list. You do not have to bring anything by any means, but it is something that would be greatly appreciated, by our in-country partners. I also just talked to Megan, our in-country partner there. We are also in need of just little bottles of acrylic paint, like that you would do crafts with. I don't really want to pack acrylic paint in my suitcase, but maybe if you're driving or if you live near San Diego and you're not going to be flying, we are in need of some acrylic paint and paintbrushes. So for those of us who can't bring paint, the only thing that's not on the wish list that we do need are maybe just some paintbrushes, and again, various sizes, big, small, sponge, knot, whatever. Whatever you have some room for would be greatly appreciated. All right, well, other than that, I hope everything's going well. Good luck with the rest of your synthesis paper. I'm so excited to meet with all of you in just a couple weeks. Please feel free to reach out with me if you have any questions, particularly about packing or about any of the stuff we're going to encounter. To be perfectly honest with you, we keep you a little bit in the dark on this trip because it's just a little more fun that way, and you get a lot more out of it. So I promise you, you're in very good hands. I promise you, if you forget anything, we absolutely will have it for you or something that will meet your needs in that situation. Get excited. Have some fun. You can't see it and I can't turn my webcam, but I have 2 pictures of my first Baja trip hanging in my office, which is a disaster, by the way, because I just had to move out of my classroom. But take care, do amazing things. Please let me know if you have questions, and I'm excited to see you in a couple weeks. Good luck.